Shalom, family. Good morning. Today is a beautiful day. I had a very edifying, refreshing, purposeful weekend, and I've just been full of the Ruach ever since, and I'm so grateful for my father. I want to share a quick testimony because a lot of people misunderstand the season of isolation that he puts us in. We often want to rush it, and I want to express and encourage someone today of my season of isolation that I've finally been released from. This video may be a bit long, you know what I'm saying? So there more than likely will be a part two so that I won't make it overly long, you know what I'm saying? But rock with me if you want to fast forward, or where it speeds up the talking, you can press and hold. I'm going to put a little you know, wording where you can do that if you want to speed it up some. I get it. I have ADHD. I can't sit through all that. So my isolation didn't start during COVID like most people. It actually started in the fall of 2019, way before any of that happened. Back then, I didn't understand what the Most High Yahuwah was doing, and I actually prematurely pulled myself out of isolation in the fall of 2020. And looking back, that wasn't him releasing me. That was me doing that in my own will. We actually think there's a time limit on isolation, and people often discourage or down talk the isolation season, but that season is necessary for your growth in the Ruach HaKodesh, in our Father and his ways, because he has to shed us from the old man, old way of thinking, and bring us into the new life, new creature that he wants us to be for his glory, for his purpose, for our lives. So an isolation season, depending on your obedience and your submission, it could take a few months, it could take a year, it could take 2 to 3, or possibly longer than that, because a lot of the prophets were in isolation for some years. So it wasn't just overnight. That's the whole point. But because of me pulling myself prematurely out of the isolation stage, I experienced a lot of delay in my life. Delay in assignments, relationships, my finances, and just certain things that I was supposed to do. Like, I literally had a plan after my mom passed away in 2020 of what to do, and not in my will. It wasn't my plan. This is things that I sat down and talked to my father about, that I was supposed to be doing once I moved from my old house, and that just didn't happen. That's on me, nobody but me. Because even if I was engaging in things that I shouldn't have been, it was all in my own will at the end of the day. So I take full accountability for that. So when I finally came back into full submission and surrendered, you know what I'm saying, it was basically like I was starting all over again. And some of the things that I was supposed to be working on during that time, I'm still working on now, and I'm not tripping. It's lesson learned, but we gonna get there. It's all good. But for the past 2.5 years, I've been in real isolation. And when I say in isolation, I don't mean that I don't leave the house. Like, I go for walks occasionally, if by permission from my Heavenly Father. I'll take myself out to eat. But as far as like socializing, hanging out with people, going to gatherings, assemblies, Bible studies with other people outside of, my sisters and brothers that I've connected with in the truth on here, I was in the house. I was not permitted to leave the house. Like, hanging, you heard me? Yeah. I would also go see my family, you know what I'm saying, occasionally, or if they were in town, I'll go gather with them. And I haven't been to church since the fall of 2019, and I never saw myself going back, especially knowing what the Most High Yahuwah has shown me about the truth, paganism, just everything about 501c3 operated churches and their belief system. Everything that he revealed to me, is no way that I could go back to an organized religion or churchianity, knowing the things that I know now, knowing that I would be lied to every weekend. But that's a whole nother story as well. But I hadn't been around like-minded believers in a social setting overall. And I'm not gonna lie, isolation will certainly have you questioning yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? Am I crazy? Like, am I even being purposeful in this season? Because I feel like I'm not. But you truly have to trust our Father in that season. He is so strategic, and he is so intentional in every single thing that he does. We're so used to seeing the instant gratification in this world being done that we forget that our Father works things out for the good of those that love him. Intentionally, not instantly. I dropped a devotional back in February that is available on Amazon. You can click the link in my bio if you would like. It's also available in a PDF format if you would like to. But it really didn't sell, you know what I'm saying? It didn't do like I thought it would. But I'm not tripping on that because I do understand that obedience won't always look like success. And sometimes purpose isn't the outcome, it's the preparation, you know? But anyway, uh, maybe a few weeks ago, I connected with a therapist whom is a Christian, who I don't count that against her, you know what I'm saying? Because as long as she's a believer of the word and has the Ruach HaKodesh, that's good enough for me because there's too many spiritual therapists out there and I'm not about to sit there and talk to you, you know? But we started talking about me being in the house so much. I don't even know how that became a topic of the conversation, but it was something that had been in my mind, on my mind, but I wasn't sure that my father was ready for me to leave out the house yet. But she encouraged me to start getting out more. And what's wild is how everything lined up at the very same time because when she told me that I had actually been invited to a church by a sister that I connected with on here, but she ended up finding me on Facebook. So let's fast forward a bit. So right when I started working with Brother Yavo for the Elect Sound Radio, when he offered me, you know, to start a podcast on his station, that was like step one after the whole therapist thing. You know what I'm saying? Well, no, I started the therapy sessions right around the time that I was invited to do that. So I also connected with a sister, Sister Eileen. Shout out to her. Beautiful person. She's a sister in politics, but she's also a believer. But we ended up connecting, was speaking for a while, called me and she prayed over me and she spoke some things into my life. I remember her asking me if I've ever had anybody prophesy to me before, and I was like, no, it was always either very brief, general type of thing, or I was overlooked and it wasn't told to me. I was always curious, like, dang, why everybody else get these deep, in-depth words and I'm not? But in my season of isolation, I did realize that's to prevent me from making anybody an idol, because the same rock that dwells in them dwells in me as well, and I can hear Yahweh just fine. But she basically confirmed that same thing for me. It wasn't meant for them to speak into my life, but it was something that happened that changed, it shifted in my life where she spoke over me. It was really like, literally, I compare it to the moment like Samuel and David, and I appreciate her for that and for Yahweh putting her in my life. But isolation also broke that, you know what I'm saying, that looking at expecting from people, because when you expect, that's when you get disappointed. So that's when I gracefully disconnect from people, regardless if it's a teacher, friendship, whatever it may be. Like, you gracefully can do things because they were there for a reason. It was always for a lesson or a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Not everything has to be looked at as an attack or something negative, but also there are demonic influences that I've had in my life too, and I often speak on those demonic influences. But it's still a lesson in all things, because had I not had that situation that I was in, I probably wouldn't, that pain wouldn't have pushed me into my purpose. Like, that's how I have to look at it. So yeah, isolation just helped me with pruning, growing in my knowledge and understanding of the word. Huh, man, discernment increasing, learning my boundaries, just a lot of it, and I'm grateful for it all. So boom, back to the story. I'm sorry. So the therapist, you know, suggested I start getting out more, and that was around the same time that Sister Shelly reached out to me and invited me to the church. Like, she sent me like videos and was telling me about the church and how her brother had come into the truth and that he's awakening his church. And I'm just like, I was kind of skeptical at first, 'cause I'm like, I don't know, because you talking about church and all this other stuff. I don't know, like, what's going on. I noticed that in the city of New Orleans too, like, a lot of people say that they follow the Most High, but they really live a double mind. They live double minded. You know what I'm saying? And I don't do lukewarm living anymore. Lukewarm living brings confusion and compromise, and I'm not willing to go back to that. And I'm not saying that's what Sister Shelley was into. What I'm saying is that was my preconceived notion. I was already biased in that, and I know that was just the enemy trying to plant seeds in my mind to keep me from this powerful weekend. But the Ruach HaKodesh in me said to trust the Ruach HaKodesh in her, and that's what I did. And the video is coming to the end, so I'm gonna have to continue on in the next one. I thought it was just gonna be 2 parts, but this might be 3, but I'll be back.